She is an inspiring woman whose journey bridges numbers and narratives. She's not only a dedicated accountant with a sharp mind for finance, but also a passionate advocate of hope, empowerment, and personal transformation. Through her own journey of self-discovery, triggered by a reflection of her struggles and triumphs, and the need to be a better version of herself, she has become a voice of encouragement for others seeking purpose and growth. Join me as we delve in the heroic story of Josephine Wamboi, a woman who proves that through knowledge and self-awareness, anything is possible. My name is Ronald Sanya, and today I host Wamboi Mugweru on the Heroes Hero segment. So when you talk about self-reflection and problems or struggle from within, and maybe there is someone who is listening to you and will say like he is having the same challenges or the problems or the struggle that are within him, and you want them to reflect about them. What advice will you give to that person? How do they need to start, on reflecting part, and how do they let go of the struggles from within?
I would say that it begins from a point of gaining clarity on the struggles that you are going through as a person, the internal struggles. It could be something like self-doubt, something like the imposter syndrome, those internal struggles that we struggle with. Maybe you feel like you're not confident, but sometimes it's all about gaining clarity on where exactly those kind of problems come from. Sometimes things like self-doubt could be as deep as, and they could go back all the way to childhood.
Sure.
Maybe it's something that you experienced and it cost you, maybe there is a mistake that you made and it cost you to question how good you are, just going back to the roots. You really need.
So like these are the experiences that have been building up all the way from childhood now.
Yeah, there are some experiences that build up from childhood. And I think the very first thing that you need to do to be able to solve a problem is that you need to find the root cause where all those internal struggles are coming from. And then from that point, you can be able to progress into the things that you need to do to be able to solve those kind of problems. And most of the time, people struggle with things like self-doubt. And when you doubt yourself, you close so many opportunities on yourself. You miss opportunities. And when you miss opportunities, you feel like people are not seeing you, people are not presenting you with opportunities. They are not giving you the chance to express yourself. They are not seeing the work that you're doing. But instead of blaming the circumstances around you, it's important to realize that there are things that you can do that can help you solve the problem first internally before you solve it externally.
What is something that about you that you've done that through the experience maybe that you had along the way that you think this is the best thing that I've done in my life? So
I think I would say again, the best thing that I have done for myself is embarking on this journey of self-awareness, self-discovery, and trying to clear the imposter syndrome, the self-doubt, and all those things that were making me feel stuck intentionally, first from within. And the best thing that I would say that I realized is that I do not have to blame the circumstances around me. It begins within. It begins from me as a person. Before I can say before I can blame the circumstances, because there's Steve Covey says that between stimuli and response, you have the freedom and the power to choose.
Yeah.
And one of the most important choice that you can make as a person is to stop blaming the circumstances around you and make a choice for yourself to go out there and solve problems, to figure out for yourself, to gain clarity, and to try to find that awareness and to try to solve those internal struggles instead of waiting for someone to come and hand the solutions to you, because we are a product of choice, not circumstances. When you put yourself as a product of circumstances, you don't achieve much. You will be in endless cycles of victimhood, blaming circumstances and people around you. But when you realize that you have the freedom to choose, you start embarking on a journey of being the solution to the problems that you face.
You provide your own solution to your own problems. That's very powerful. It's good that you have also said about that you have to look within yourself. What you know yourself, you are the only person who knows your problem. They usually say that you are the person who's wearing the shoes and you knows where they pinch. And so when you identify the problems for yourself, then you also know how to get the solutions for yourself, or how to seek those solutions from. We live in a world that is a very competitive, and we are so many of us, and it is very hard to be seen out there. And what you are doing is very commendable, because apart from just coming out confidently and saying, I want to speak about this, you are trying to tell your own story, because you are the only one who can tell your own story the best way you can. The moment you leave someone to tell your own story, then they will tell your story according to their own terms and conditions and according to how they know best. Maybe I just want to get from your own perspective. When people talk about success, they feel like success, you need to have the titles and accolades and whatever. But for me, I see success in whatever you do. So maybe what is success to you?
Well, I think success is first, I think defining success, and this is something that I learned from one of my mentors, that success, when you define success, you define what happiness looks like to you.
Wow.
Success, you can define success in terms of many things. Maybe in your career, what does success look like for you? It's not just about the titles, but how you feel, the fulfillment that you feel. If you feel fulfilled in your job, I believe that you have achieved success. And how do you feel fulfilled? It's because you feel fulfilled when you are pursuing something that you like, when you're helping people, when you're solving problems, when you're being the solution. And then people start to see the value that you're creating. They see you, they appreciate you, and you feel good within. I would say that success is relative. There are very many definitions of success. You can define success in terms of family, you can define success in terms of career, in terms of your goal and all that. But success, I think, you should be measured by the fulfillment that you feel deep inside.
Deep inside.
Yes.
So if you were to choose between success and finding your purpose, which one will you go for?
I believe that when you find your purpose and you pursue it, you are successful as a person.
Wow. I never knew that.
I believe that when you're pursuing your purpose and your passion, and you feel fulfilled at the end of the day, having pursued your purpose, you are successful as a person. The mistake that we make most of the time is that we define success in terms of financial financial success. You have a car, you have a house, you have a great job that is paying you, but if you don't feel fulfilled inside, and maybe you're working in an environment that is toxic, or maybe there's so many things that are hindering, making you not feel like you're fulfilled, you're not really successful. Success gets into all aspects, all the facets of life.
Wow. So if I find peace, that is success to me. If I'm peaceful wherever I am, or in whatever that I'm doing, and I'm just finding that peace, or I just peaceful in whatever I'm doing, then that's success to me. That's according to me anyway. So I've been privileged enough to come from a background that was not so good. And when you come from a background that is not so good, that doesn't favor you in so many things, it means you have to push yourself to get some things. You have to go out of the bounds to get some things. What is one childhood memory that you will say will define who you are? Because when I say I've been privileged enough to come from that background, I'm saying it intentionally, because that background is what pushed me to be where I am, to do the things that I'm not comfortable doing, but I know they are very beneficial at the end of the day. What is one childhood memory that you can relate with, that maybe sometimes when you look at it, it fuels you to do certain things that you are not comfortable about them, but at the end of the day, they are so beneficial to you?
Well, I think the childhood memories that I have are several, but I would say that the memories I have is the memories of where my parents pushed me, and they provided me with a good environment to pursue things. They instilled good values in me. I would say I am privileged to have come from a family with parents that are very supportive, and they guided me and they shaped me into who I am. They instilled value in me. They pushed me to want to be better, and they were very supportive. As a child, I would say that I grew up looking up to my parents, and they are the ones who have fueled me to pursue things, to do well, to try to become a better version of me, because I want to make them proud. Right? So I would say my parents have played a very great role who I am today. And every time that I am doing something, I want to make them proud.
Wow. So the proud aspect is your fuel.
Yes.
The proud aspect and the fact that your parent worked so hard to push you or to give you whatever you have is what fuels you now.
Yes. That's what fuels me to be who I am today, because they have done a very big role in shaping me into who I am. Of course, they were not 100%, and no parent is 100%.
Yeah, very true.
I, as a parent, I am not 100%, but I believe that they played a very big part in who I am today. The conversations that we had, the way they constantly appreciated me when I did something nice, when they encouraged me, the conversations that we had around different topics, even when I was studying, sometimes they were strict and they would discipline me. But I believe that all that they did contributed to who I am today, and I want to make them proud.
Wow.
Even now.
It's good that you mentioned that you are also a parent, and also say that it is a parent that pushed you to do things that now you are finding it easy doing right now. Maybe if I may just ask, what is something that you've learned from being a parent yourself?
Parenthood teaches you a lot of things.
Yeah.
It teaches you to be patient. It teaches you to listen. It teaches you to support. And it teaches you to guide. You learn a lot when you become a parent because you want the best for your children. So you provide every opportunity for them to thrive. And one thing that I have learned as a parent is to be able to provide a good environment for my child to thrive by guiding, by supporting, by listening, by, all those things that you need to do as a parent to provide a great environment for your child to thrive in.
Yeah.
So that even when they are grown up, they will be proud of you as a parent.
True.
And you're never really 100%. You don't have everything figured out, but parenting is a journey, and every day you learn something new.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you decided to change your mindset, what are the sort of things that changed in your life? That you were looking at them differently, but then you change your mind, you switch your mindset, and now they were beginning to behave in a different way.
Well, let me start from this point when I was feeling stuck in my career. So I had gone through this career thing for a period of like 2 years. But in a position that I was in towards the end of 2023, beginning 2024, I was feeling kind of stuck because, you're doing the same thing over and over again. Sometimes you're doing roles that you don't really like.
Yeah.
And I'll talk, especially when you work in a company that is not so big and you're in the accounts department, you find yourself doing everything. You're doing HR, you're doing admin, doing accounts.
I've been there before.
Yeah. You're doing almost everything.
Yeah.
And then you feel like these roles are consuming so much of your time. And this is not really something that you want to concentrate in. And I really wanted to concentrate in accounts and finance. But every now and then I get distracted by all this admin work. I am sorting people issues. I'm doing all kind of work, things that I didn't feel like I really liked them. And so I was feeling, in that moment, you're quick to blame. And then when you feel like you're not seen, you're not appreciated, because of course people would come and tell you, thank you for ordering tea for us, or lunch for us.
They feel like it's your job.
For doing this for me. Thank you for those HR work. No one, like, sometimes you don't get people to come to appreciate those things. So you feel they're not important, they're not seen. They are not contributing to your growth. But then again, you have to ask yourself, yes, I'm doing all these things.
Yeah.
And why do I do them? Why are they important? Why is it important for me to do this thing? Why is it important for me to do the admin work? Why is it important for me to do the HR work? Because of course there's no HR department. There is no admin department. There is no procurement department. So I'm doing all that. But somehow, when you do all these things, they contribute to your overall growth. And sometimes for you to be able to appreciate and get out of that point of feeling stuck and feeling like you're not doing these things is to ask yourself, why are these things important? how do they help the people that I'm sorting?
Yeah.
If I am doing the HR, I am following up for something to do with HR or admin. How are they contributing to the efficiency of people? How do I make people grow in these things? So when you realize why they are important and you come to appreciate that the work that you're doing is equally as important as all other jobs, even though you're doing so many things and not concentrating in one thing. When you realize how important it is, you change your whole perception about it.
Yeah.
Now I still do the admin work, I still do the HR, I do tenders, I do accounts, I do almost everything, because even now we don't have those departments.
Yeah.
I still do them.
Wow.
But right now, after I changed my perception of how I see these things, and I started to appreciate myself and didn't wait to be appreciated by other people, it's helped me to see them in a good light and to see the value that I am creating as a person when I'm doing all these things.
Yeah.
So I stopped feeling like they are not important. I stopped feeling resentful. I started appreciating the fact that I am adding value in all those roles as I add value in accounts and finance. And when I started appreciating that, things opened up. I stopped feeling gloomy. I stopped feeling like, when will the day end, and I go home and rest.
Yeah.
Right now, I do them with grace because I know they are important. And when you appreciate that, and sometimes it's when you solve those internal struggles and you appreciate the work that you're doing, you appreciate the value that you're creating, it reflects even on the outward. Externally, people start appreciating these days you're doing this and this. These days you're helpful. These days it's not like before. So people start appreciating the moment that you start appreciating what you do. So it starts from within so that it reflects externally.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned about appreciation, and I know so many people know that appreciation is a morale booster. And there's someone who say that gratitude is a very beautiful place for you to ground yourself in. How do you maybe use gratitude to step up?
I have learned to appreciate.
Yeah.
And this also comes from my parents. I remember when we were kids and we did something, there was something great. There was a reward.
Yeah.
When they gave us a certain task out of the ordinary task, and you achieved it, there was appreciation. Sometimes you would be told by word of mouth. Sometimes you were given incentives like some few shillings to go and buy something. And I remember one of the things that pushed me to even perform well, especially in high school, we would have an incentive. My parents would tell you that if you get an A in a certain subject or a B plus or whatever, depending with your ability,
yes,
they would reward you a certain amount of money, and it made you try.
Yeah, because they want you to stay where they are, or they want you to up your game. Yeah,
so
yeah, sure.
You want to do better because there is a reward. But what appreciation does, it helps people to see themselves and to see the value that they are creating, to see themselves as important, and in turn they give even more. So I try as much to appreciate the people that I engage with, be it my colleagues, people who have done great things for me, and people who are playing a big part. It goes all the way even for people like us who have kids.
Yeah.
And you have a nanny.
Yeah, sure, yeah,
care we'll have.
yeah.
It's important to appreciate them from time to time,
Yeah.
because we might assume that if that's just a normal job that they do, but when you appreciate them, they take even better care of it.
Yeah, true.
They take better care. They are motivated to do even more. So it's something that I'm really trying to do so that I can make the other party feel appreciated and feel motivated, because I have also experienced a part where I didn't feel appreciated, and when someone did appreciate me, it motivated me to give even more.
Yeah, sure. So I like that you talked about that, the appreciation, and you mentioned the nanny, and even way back in school. Maybe I just want you to take a reflection of yourself and what is the best part of being you?
The best part of
of being you. If you just reflect, look at yourself from way back up to now, what do you say is the best part of being you?
I would say the best part of being me is that I learned from a very long time ago to be myself.
Wow.
I learned to not compare myself with other people and compete. I learned to be content from an early age. And I would say that maybe this was, I would say that maybe this was because of how my parents brought me up. I learned to be content with what I have now as I work towards what I want to get. So I would say that the best part of being me is being myself in every moment.
Wow.
I have learned to not pretend to be anything that I am not. I have learned to be content with what I have. I learned to appreciate the steps, the baby steps that I'm making towards achieving my goals and the big things that I'm trying to chase. So, and when you're content, and contentment doesn't mean that you don't look for big things.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that you're not chasing goals.
Yeah.
It means that you are peaceful where you are as you work towards where you
want to be. Okay.
Because if you're not content with where you are, you get in a cycle of constantly comparing yourself with other people, and you get in cycles of like borrowing. If you're comparing yourself financially, you get into unhealthy competition. You get into you get to be a victim of circumstances. You blame so many things, but when you're content and you are yourself, you learn to appreciate yourself, to love yourself, to work towards your goals,
Sure.
and to focus on yourself as you grow.
And where you want to be.
And where you want.
So what do you think about the word destiny? Are we destined to get things that are meant for us, or we have to go after them?
What is meant to be for you will only be for you if you pursue it. If you pursue it, if you put in the work, if you go out there and find it. It's just like the way people say, I want a certain thing and I am praying about it. I can pray for a job, but if I am not applying for a job, how will the job find me? Because even God helps those who helps themselves. You can't just sit down and say that if something is meant to be for me, it will be for me doing nothing.
I was
for that thing to be for you.
I was trying to think like, like when you see a caterpillar, it never thinks that one day it will fly, it will become a butterfly and fly, but it's the destination. So maybe I was trying to think like at the moment where I am right now, I'm just like a caterpillar, but I am meant to be a butterfly and fly. So whether the things I'm doing likes or not, I'll fly one day.
but you have to put in the work. Because when you don't put in the work, you become a product of circumstance.
Yeah.
But you need to realize that you have a choice. The choice to pursue your goals, the choice to be kind, the choice to do things, the choice to find yourself,
Yeah.
the choice to put in the work for you to get to where you are. Things will not just find you.
True.
You have to look within, you have to work on yourself, you have to work on your goals, you have to do everything that you can. You have to do the best that you can as you wait for destiny to find you.
Yeah.
Wait without putting in the work.
That's very correct. Now let's just get to straight into your journey. I know you have a very wonderful journey from the process you are, the struggles, and the decision to decide to change, the decision to decide to think who you are and who you wanna be. I know maybe you said you don't know where you are going, but what you knew that you never wanted to be where you were at that moment. What can you take us through that process, the journey, how you started it, and how it is going so far?
Yeah, so where it all began is when I was a child, and I, like many children, you go to school, you study, your parents are there. For some, the parents are not there to support them physically, emotionally, and in all aspects, spiritually, and all that. For me, I would say that I had a good childhood because I was privileged enough to have my parents. They were not necessarily rich, but they did everything that they needed to do to see me get to where I am today. So I had a normal childhood, and so I went to school. I was constantly trying to do better. My dad pushing me, my mom encouraging me, and all that through high school, through campus. And then I got out of campus. I got good grades all through, even in campus. But then I got out of campus and I came into the real world. Now I'm looking for a job. That's when you realize where
the ground is different.
You're looking for a job. There are people who take longer than other people.
That's true.
So before we left campus, we did attachments, and I did attachments in Nakuru, and I would say that I have been privileged enough to have people who hold my hands, even when I didn't know what I was doing.
Wow.
So, and the beginning is my parents who have held my hand all throughout, even now. My mom, even now that I am an adult, she still checks on me. She still supports me.
Yeah, you are still her kid as far as it's concerned.
And I really appreciate her and my late dad, because they played a very big part and they continue to play a big part in my life. So when through high school, through campus, and then now into attachment, I was in a nice office, I would say. So the boss there, and I was mainly working with 2 people, and they were very supportive at that point. I was not out of campus yet. I was just doing the attachment so that now I could graduate. And in that period, trying to figure out how the job is on experience and not the theoretical knowledge that we get in class. They supported me, they showed me the way, they guided me. It was a lady called Eunice and a gentleman called Adan. They were very supportive. And especially in that period, I had just lost my dad and they didn't know about it. I told unis just as I was about to end the attachment. That was in November. I had lost my dad in August, just before I went for attachment in September. They were very supportive, and even though it was a grieving moment for me, I didn't feel like the world was cruel to me because I had the support of those very big support. They took care of me as a child and guided me into this job market. So after completing the attachment, then I graduated, and for a period I was just at home trying to apply for jobs. And even in this period, my mom was very supportive. Even funding me when I needed to go for an interview and all that. She has been very supportive. So I got an internship, and when I got this internship, then I also met other people who were very good to me. And one of them is called Henit. I was in an internal audit department, and she was very kind to me, and she guided me. And the people that I used to work with in that department, they were so helpful. So I learned on the job, and I gained that practical experience, and they were really supportive. So I didn't feel like I was out of place. So I have had the privilege of getting people who support me. From there, I got another job. I also had someone who really supported me. There was a gentleman called Sam. He guided me now on real experience being an accountant with supervision. He was a consultant for the firm that I was working with initially, and then he came now full-time, but he really guided me into this whole accounting thing. So I also appreciate him because he was an instrumental part of my journey. And then now moving forward to where I currently am working, I also met people who have supported me. And especially my senior, Naomi, she was supportive in my induction, and she has allowed me to grow in my role. From the day that I joined the company till now, I have been privileged to have her because she allows me to grow. She doesn't withhold information or opportunities, or there are those people who can close the doors on you.
True.
Then there are people when you work with, they don't allow you to do certain things. But I have been privileged enough to work with people who have opened doors for me, who let me try out different things. I appreciate the place that I am working right now because it's quite a good environment, and everyone in that place contributes in one way or another to my growth and the feeling of fulfillment in my role. Then now, when I was trying to search for growth, when I was feeling stuck, and I wanted to grow beyond where I was. When I gained clarity, there are just people that I approached to help me try to figure out certain things. So I initially, and sometime back, I believed in being independent, figuring things out,
on your own way.
asking for
Assistance.
Not asking for mentorship, and I didn't have a mentor until last year. So, but then I realized in the power of interdependence.
Yeah.
See, now we're moving from independence to
Interdependence, yeah.
and recognizing that if I want to go even further, there are people that can help me in this journey.
Yeah.
So I need people to hold my hand, to guide me, to try to challenge me. And so part of my self-discovery, I started reading books and self-help books especially. And when I started reading books, I started with there's a book called The 5 a.m. Book, The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. It was the beginning of, discovering certain aspects of life.
Sure.
The discipline, the habits, the trying to regain my focus and all that. Then I read The Atomic Habits. But then one book that really opened my eyes, I would say, is the book Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner. That book played a very big and important part in my growth. And you would think that book talks about getting the real corner office.
Yeah.
It's not about the real corner office, the corner office in your office where you have...
Does it talk about not being nice?
No, it doesn't talk about being nice. It talks about... It talks about moving from the nice girl, where the nice girl is this girl who pleases people, the girl that is not able to express herself, the nice girl that conforms, the nice girl that doesn't speak out, the nice girl that makes people feel comfortable. And this book was an eye-opener in my journey of self-discovery, and I discovered certain aspects.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be some of the things that I got is how I communicate with people. Some of the things that I changed reading that book.
The power of communication.
The power of communicating, the power of expressing myself, the power of even dressing nicely and feeling good about yourself.
Okay.
Myself. It made me realize so many things. It talks about the mistakes that women unconsciously make that make them remain stuck, feel stuck, be it in career, be it at home. Those things that women conform to and make them feel stuck, and now trying to come out of that, working on yourself, working on your dressing, working on the way you look, the way you brand yourself, the way you think, the way you talk, the way you engage in office politics and all that. So it was an eye-opener for me, and it played a big part. And then during that period, I started attending networking events.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And I started being active on LinkedIn. And when I started networking and being active on LinkedIn, I realized the power of making meaningful connection. And through LinkedIn, I was able to make connections with people who have played a great part in that growth journey. And one of the people that I connected with on LinkedIn is Professor Elizabeth Kagunda, who now became my mentor. So I connected with her on LinkedIn. Of course, being an accountant and being someone, Professor being someone who is at the top of the profession. This is someone that I looked up to. And this is someone that inspired me to want to get there So I had followed her story and I saw how much she has been able to achieve. She started out as a teacher, a high school teacher, and now she is a professor, the vice chair of ISPAC, now vying for the position of chairman. And I knew that this is someone that I want to emulate. This is someone that I would look up to for guidance, for advice, for mentorship, for all those things that I believe that will help me grow. So I connected with her. I tried building my courage and confidence. So I inboxed her. We started talking, even on WhatsApp. And then it happened on the very first networking event that I attended last year. That was in August. She was the guest speaker.
Wow.
It was the finance professionals ladies edition. So it was a ladies event, and she had been invited as a guest speaker. So I attended that event, and mainly the reason why I attended that event is because I had seen she would be the guest speaker, and this is someone that I was really looking forward to meeting. And
You know, we are sort of like the same. I remember also last year around December, I was following Lilian Gala, and you know, she has this the networking group, the networking foundation, and I usually meet at the end of every month, almost every month, to network. And I know it costs some few coins, but I wanted to be actually there because there's something I wanted to speak to her about. So I made every effort to be there. Even though there were so many people that wanted to see her, I made sure that at least I said hi. So we are sort of the same way. And it's also funny because Professor Kalunda was supposed to appear on this podcast this morning. But it's good that she's your mentor. Now I know that by all means, she'll have to appear to this podcast so that we can give her the gratitude that you have just said.
you will be delighted to.
I know very much. Yeah.
So at that networking event, I believe that part of the reason why I was able to talk to her is because of that book that I told you about that I read. Nice Girls. It opened my mind so much. So much. So when I went for that event and she was the guest speaker, and you know, there's that period that you are asked to introduce yourself. So when I was introducing myself, I mentioned the fact that I was glad to be in that event because I would be meeting Professor Elizabeth. And I made sure to say that.
Wow.
So the event went on. It was a very lovely event, and Professor talked about so many things, especially the work-life balance. And after the event, or during the event, there was some interaction session, and I made sure that I went to her, and because we had connected and chatted on LinkedIn, then on WhatsApp. We had not chatted on WhatsApp. We had chatted on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yeah.
So, and because we had chatted on LinkedIn, she recognized me, and we connected. We connected. She's a very easy person to get along with, and so we connected at that moment. And after the event, I requested her to be my mentor, and I told her I had seen her profile and everything that she had done, and I felt like she would be instrumental in my journey of growth. So yes, we connected, and from that date, we have been in contact from time to time.
Yeah.
She became my mentor. After the event, I planned an official meeting with her.
Yeah.
She can tell you that. So I planned an official meeting, and I met her again now and talked to her. I told her about myself and what I'm looking for, and she was kind enough to be supportive. So we have discussed several issues, and now we have a group that does mentorship. For her being a very busy person in this profession, and she has so many mentees, so many that she is mentoring.
Yeah.
So she thought it would be wise to combine us in a group of people who are looking for mentorship. And so we usually have sessions twice a month, the first and that Saturday. And she talks to us. She gives us opportunity to talk to each other. She has given me an opportunity to lead a discussion that before that I had not led a discussion, you know, and I realized that being prepared enough to take opportunities when they are handed to you, or to recognize opportunities and grab them is very important. Because there was one time when she requested, I think she had traveled, and we were to have a Saturday session, and she would not be able to facilitate that mentorship session. So she requested on the group, and she asked who will volunteer to lead the discussion today. I debated with myself, and then I told myself, these are kind of opportunities that I'm
the moments you've been waiting for.
That I am courageous when I am just sitting, and that I will gain the courage and confidence when I'm just sitting. And this is an opportunity presented to me, and all that I needed to prepare was, we had a topic. All I needed to do was to research about the topic and to lead the discussion. To be prepared enough when we are going into that discussion, and now to lead. And of course, I have been in sessions, in these Zoom sessions where people discuss different things, and I am keen to observe how people are moderating such sessions. So I had seen, so when you're in a session, you talk about the topic, then you let people speak, and you let them give their key takeaways and give their views, their opinion, and all that. So I grabbed the opportunity, and I led the discussion. It was, we had the discussion for that discussion. We were just 3 people, but that did not prevent me from leading the discussion. So
it starts with just 3 people, then before you know it, you have 10, you have 20, you have 50.
So we had that discussion, and it ended well. There were a few hitches here and there, because
but you learned from it.
I didn't realize that Zoom session was only 40 minutes. Figured that out, so we had to finish the meeting, because we do it for like an hour. But it went well, and the next time that she was not available, guess what she did?
She picked you?
She picked me to lead a discussion. So I have grown so much through her, because she's someone who gives you even the opportunity to lead something, to facilitate, she gives you an opportunity to be seen, to feel heard. And when you do something nice, she constantly appreciates you and encourage you. And that is the whole role, the role of a mentor. So she has been very instrumental. Then also another mentor.
Maybe before you just continue, has you being in a book club maybe inspired you to write your own book?
Well, I have thought about it, but I have not really started. I think I will do that, but not at this point. At this point, I have not decided. But I tell my friend that if I am ever to write a book, I will start with the book that talks about growth and self-awareness,
So what will be the title of that book?
I have not really thought about the title, but it will be a book about growth, self-awareness, self-discovery, talking about all those aspects that I have been working on.
Yeah.
And for me, if I am to write that book, the most significant year will be 2024 because that's the period where
it was the turning point for your
intentionally.
Yeah.
It was the turning point. Yes. Yeah.
So for someone listening to you today, someone who is an introvert, who is not a good reader, is not into books, and they feel like they are stuck, what kind of advice would you be able to give them?
I think first, if you're feeling stuck, you really need to reflect on why you feel like you're feeling stuck. And when you find that reason why you're feeling like you're stuck, maybe it's feeling self-doubt, maybe there are many things that make you feel stuck.
True.
When you find the reason and where that comes from, then you're able to solve. And then also to realize that you don't have to do it alone. There are people who will be willing to hold your hand, to walk you through that journey, and to help you discover yourself. There are books that are important. There are sessions that you can join that will open up your mind. There are very many ways that you can get out of that feeling of being stuck. Personally, I am an introvert, but there are people who now don't think that I am an introvert.
Wow.
And being an introvert should not be a defining factor. Being an introvert means that you value your space, you love the quiet and calm space, but it doesn't limit you to pursuing
your goals,
things that you want and your goals. So being an introvert shouldn't be a factor that holds you back. You can get out of the shell while you are still an introvert and pursue the things that you want. So realizing that you need to work on yourself, finding the real problem that you want to address, and just discovering that you need people to hold your hand. You cannot work alone.
True.
So I realized that I need people to hold my hands, and I have been constantly engaging with people who have held my hand, be it the mentors like Elizabeth Kalunda. I also have another mentor called Dr. Julian Rowa.
Wow.
And I also met him on LinkedIn. Again, this was a bold step because I don't just approach people that I don't know. So,
the introverts in you.
You love your quiet space, but again, when you realize that you need something and you have to work towards it, then you look for those opportunities, because opportunities will not just find you. So I approached Dr. Julian Rowa on LinkedIn. Then he was starting a community, and this community was about mentoring young people, and he formed a community with 4 groups, and I joined the young professionals. And in this group, he was very instrumental in that part of growth. Again, I met him towards September, I think, or August on LinkedIn. And then, so I joined his group. And one thing that I loved about him is the fact that he challenges me. He challenges my way of thinking. He challenges, he makes me to challenge my beliefs and my way of thinking.
Sure.
The community is called Raw row with rower, and it's the row of RAW, the
RAW.
raw conversations.
Oh, wow.
In that forum, you are having raw conversations and things that, there are certain topics that we avoid,
True.
but they are very important to helping you grow.
Yeah.
So he challenged my way of thinking. He made me to go deep into my thoughts, and also because it was a point I realized that I needed to grow, I was also intentional about being active in the group. And so I shared my thoughts, my views, and my perspective.
Yeah.
And I was very active in that period. And so one day there was a conference, and he gave me an opportunity to attend that conference. Again, that was the first time I was attending a conference. So opportunities were finding me, but I was prepared.
You are prepared to grab them.
Yeah. Because I was working on myself. And that's why I say opportunities won't just find you. What is meant for you will not just.
Yeah, I like that you are challenging me on that. Maybe someone who is flourishing in mentorship, would you say that mentorship is the way to go now for you to get any opportunity that maybe you wish to get or you want to get? Mentorship is the only way to go.
Well, it depends with your definition of mentorship, but what I take as mentorship, you see, many people confuse mentorship for, trying to get a job opportunity. When you don't know what you're looking for in mentorship, in a mentor, and you're looking for mentorship because you want to get a job, and you don't get that job, you end up being frustrated.
Yeah.
You have to identify, are you looking for a job or mentorship? And if it's mentorship, what kind of mentorship are you looking for?
Wow.
So mentorship is not just about getting a job opportunity. It is about the things that you want to. Mentorship is, I think, it's about growth.
And guidance, huh?
Being guided in various aspects. Maybe it's mentorship in self-discovery, mentorship in trying to solve the internal struggles like self-doubt. It calls for you to have clarity on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a job, you're not looking for mentorship. You're looking for a job. Call it a job. You're looking for a job. But if you're looking for mentorship, maybe you're looking for mentorship in growth. So you approach this mentor from a point, not from a point of give me a job. From a point, can you help me unpack this?
Yeah.
Can you help me understand how I can be able to manage my time wisely, so that I am accountable for my time? Can you help me understand what leadership is about? Can you help me understand why maybe I procrastinate? Like mentorship is about being guided. So when you're looking for mentorship, be very clear on what you're looking for. If it's a job you're looking for, just say you're looking for a job and be straight to the point. Because you can go looking for mentorship, but deep inside you, you're looking for a job. But then this person doesn't have an opportunity to present to you.
Sure.
And sometimes we tend to think this person is high up in the rank, so they will give me a good job.
Yeah.
But then, your expectation is not met, and you feel like this is not mentorship because you went in with the wrong definition of what you were looking for.
True.
So yes. So for me, when I was looking for mentorship, I was very clear that I wanted to grow. I wanted to solve issues like imposter syndrome. I wanted to solve issues like procrastination because it's something that I had struggled with for quite a long time. And you know what? I told my mentor, Dr. Julian, I want to know about procrastination. Can we discuss about it? And we had a meeting with him and we talked about procrastination. And then after that discussion, I started being intentional, finding out the root cause of my procrastination. Sometimes it's laziness. Sometimes it's because you don't have clarity on what you are trying to pursue, so you keep procrastinating. So he helped me unpack certain aspects, certain perspective, go deep in my thoughts and try to figure out certain things. And I would say that mentorship is working for me. It may not be in terms of getting a position or a job, but I have experienced growth deep within me. I am able to approach people and talk to them. I am able to ask for opportunities. I'm able to talk to my bosses. Like, I am able even to approach people and be a solution to the kind of problems that they are solving, that they are struggling with. And through all that, I can say that I have grown. Not in terms of position, but in terms of
even confidence,
and courage and all that. And I would say that where I was at the point I was struggling, it's not the same place that I am right now. That's why it feels like, to some people, it feels like I am not an introvert, but I still am. To some people, it feels like I am very confident, but sometimes there are those things that I struggle with, but then I call myself for a meeting and I tell myself, I usually have a meeting with myself, yes. So I call myself for a meeting and I really debate with myself. When an opportunity is presented and I feel like I'm not good enough, I ask myself, why do I feel like that? What can I do to make myself feel better? And I debate with myself, and at the end of the debate, then I take up an opportunity. I find the courage and the strength to pursue just that.
Wow. Maybe as we wind up, we live in a generation that is so lost in procrastination, as you said, overthinking, analyzing. And you are someone who have found your own space where you can shout about what you do on LinkedIn. As we wind up, maybe what can you tell the people who will be listening to you?
I will tell them that you need to take action. As tiny steps as you are able to take, you cannot sit and wait for things to happen to you. You have to create the life that you want. Say someone is struggling with something like confidence. If you're struggling with courage and confidence, how do you solve that? You start by grabbing tiny opportunities. Say you want to be able to speak to a crowd of people. You want to be able to one day speak to 10,000 people. You won't just stand one day in front of 10,000 people and start speaking. You'll start by speaking to one person. Then you graduate to 2 people. Then you graduate to 50. You go like that, progressing. It takes effort and intentionality. You have to put in the work. You have to take those tiny steps towards where you want to be. If you are if you want to become, say, a CFO, and you are just an accounts assistant, what do you need to do? You need to work towards getting there. first you need to figure out what does a CFO does. And before I get to CFO, I will not just jump from accounts assistant to the CFO role.
True.
What are the steps? Break them down.
Yeah.
So you tell yourself, I want to be a CFO in 15 years. So what are the steps to being a CFO? Maybe there's the finance director, there's the chief accountant, there's the accountant. Then you identify, I have 3 levels, and the 4th now is the CFO. I want to get to CFO in 15 years. Then you break down. So before I get to CFO, I need to get to this. So I am moving from accounts assistant to an accountant, then senior accountant, then finance, and all that.
Yeah.
So you break down. If it's in 15 years, in 2 years, where do I? In 1 year, where do I want to be? In 2 years, in 3 years, in 5 years. So that at the end of this period of 15 years, then you're there. But it requires a lot of work, and for you to be intentional. And everything I believe in life, you need to work for it. You have to work
for it.
There.
Wow.
Those people who are top there, unless you cheated your way out, unless you cheated your way up there, they have taken time to work on themselves and to progress. And little by little, you will get there, but you need to put in the work.
Wow.
Thank you so much. It's a process indeed. Thank you so much, Wambui, for your insights. They are very insightful. Trust me. Thank you so much for coming to this segment, Heroes Hero segment. We really appreciate, and thank you so much for your time.